I want to jump in about the brothers for a second, and I want to kind of fight for the view of success that they were. Two kids from New Hampshire travel across the country together, become truck drivers, save money, lose everything. Start another business, scrounge, get the money together, get this thing to become a successful business. They were successful businessmen. And then they decide, what can't we do it all better? They ask the question, can't we do all of what we're doing better? Solve the problem and create something brand new and successfully become millionaires in their lifetime from nothing after losing everything in the Depression 30 years before. That's a success story. And the loss that they incurred is partly due to the mechanization, the weaponization of capitalism that Ray Kroc represents, right? Because 1 million isn't enough. Hundreds of millions make you a success. That's the part that I think we've lost track of.
I hear this is, you know, well, I did some press early on in Europe. I was over there working, and I knocked off a little press for the movie. And I'm hearing it, I heard it there, and I heard it from a few journalists from outside the US yesterday, and this morning on the phone, they bring it up, and it's interesting that the US journalists don't bring this up, and that is the issue of the American dream. And this is fascinating to me, because unless I miss something, there's this, I mean, we could go on and on about consumerism and waste and you know, greed, et cetera, but their perception, or what they think the American dream is, and maybe let me be a little more specific and not maybe make such generalization. They refer that when they talk about the American dream, they do it in relation to billions and mansions, and I'm going to make the assumption, you know, an extravagant lifestyle with private jets and owning islands and everything. And that's fascinating to me that they think, because the American dream, unless I missed something here, was in its simplest form, work hard enough, you know, there will be a job available, and you can buy a house, and you can have a car to get you back and forth from work where you can afford that house, and you'll have a couple of kids who can attend a good school, and you get a vacation maybe, you know, and maybe a second car. Unless I miss something, by the way, that ain't a bad thing, you know, and I think that's what it was. That's not what the perception is. It's this other thing that is kind of I don't want to say an ugly thing, because I think everybody, I got no problem with billionaires, especially billionaires like Bill Gates, who do the things that they do, or my friend Yvon Chouinard I keep referring to, or pick one. There's a bunch of them out there, you know. But this perception that that's what it is, that's what people think it is. And am I nuts? I mean, that's not what the idea was.
You know, something that early on what was so compelling about this story was that I always thought it was more about capitalism than fast food, and the McDonald brothers represent what I called sustainable capitalism, which is like, have a great product, take care of your employees, take care of, you know, and Ray Kroc represented the other side of capitalism, which was like, cut down every truffle tree in the forest, make as much as you can, expand as far as possible. And then it broke down even further in the sense of an emotional conflict, where the brothers, I felt like, were driven by love for each other, love for their product, love for their employees, and Ray Kroc was driven by fear, which is like fear of not being a success, fear of being poor, fear of not being, you know, it's just these two sort of things were battling for the soul of American capitalism, and ultimately Ray Kroc's version won, and I think we see that throughout the fabric of our society right now, and throughout the fabric of American commerce and American capitalism.
I guess we should ask Jason and Corey how they felt, and if those feelings changed.
And I feel like there was a very amazing balance of that gray, where you know, there's certain things that drive people to just get what they feel that they need, and I'm glad that didn't get lost, and you know, I'm glad also that it didn't get lost what motivated, you know, Papa and his brother to do what they did, and I'm glad that story was told in the way that it was, and I think that the actors did an amazing job capturing, the essence of what these people in the movie were about. So.
I'll just add one more thing to what Michael was saying about these sort of two different versions of the American dream. One thing I found really interesting about this story was it's not a story about these two brothers who thought small going up against against this man who thought big. The brothers thought big. I mean, they wanted, but it's really a story about two brothers who thought big versus a man who thought fucking huge, and like they wanted franchises. They tried to have franchises. I think if they had their way and Ray Kroc never existed, in my imagination, McDonald's would have become something like In-N-Out Burger, sort of like a beloved, regional franchise with 20 or 30 locations, and it would have kept its kind of values and quality. But nobody, what he imagined was science fiction. So anyway.
I think that's absolutely right. I think that was their dream, and they were franchising when this whole thing started. And, that's the thing that they always loved, was the love for their employees, the quality, the service, everything that was involved with their business model was about, yes, we can make this big, but we have to keep it excellent at the same time.
That's exactly this is weird. I just got done having this conversation, and I said, no, these guys weren't saying, oh, they were businessmen. They wanted to make some dollars. They wanted to do well. And the In-N-Out thing is I was asked this question the other day, and they asked me what it would have become, and I thought, I had to really think about it. And that's exactly what I thought it was. I said, probably In-N-Out Burger. And interestingly enough, when I hadn't lived here very long, when I moved to California, and I just made a little bit of dough. And there weren't many In-N-Out Burgers. And I had one, and I got on the phone with the guy, I had a business manager who's managing about, $1,100 like, for me, because that's about all I had. And I said, hey, I just really had a good hamburger. And I said, I think we ought to look into this thing called In-N-Out Burger. And I immediately learned exactly what they were, which was they owned the dirt, right? In-N-Out Burger is the family-owned, controlled, yeah. Yeah, it's so interesting. That's kind of what I always thought it was too.
And In-N-Out took the McDonald's playbook. Let's have these few items. We're going to do them and do them well. It's always fresh, no frozen. Has to come from a certain circle around our store to be delivered within a day. Yeah, a red, yellow, and white color scheme. Right. On down the line.
And they avoided the McShaker salad, which I always love to get a salad in a beverage cup.
You know your McDonald's.
Oh yeah.
I love it.
Oh yeah.
Something they never
You
mentioned.
keep the hot side hot and the cool side cool.